Everyone, Sandy here, and today I am hopping along with the Crafty Maven Getaway. We are each taking 2 letters of the Crafty Maven and creating something. So my letters were A and F, so I am using alcohol inks and flowers. I've pulled out my alcohol inks. I have a couple of flowers, still need to pull some more out. And then I have some Yupo, which is kind of like a plastic paper that I will be able to use my inks on. So let's see what I can do.
Now I knew since I had those wooden flowers that I definitely wanted to have some of that khaki cardstock, and I did it again. Khaki cardstock. It is not khaki cardstock. What is it called, guys? Why do I have this brain? It's like a brain malfunction. Anyway, I have that cardstock. I matted it on some black, and I pulled out my alcohol inks. Now this is an old felt pad that I've done with other alcohol inks before, and got it right on my hand and just decided I'm just going with it. So I placed the 3 different colors onto my alcohol ink pad, and then I'm just moving my wrist and turning the dauber ever so slightly, and I'm just making a straight, basically a straight line. Now when I originally thought about doing this layout, I was going to cut it so the edges didn't really matter to me. Now here I'm just adding a little bit more, and there I'm bringing in the black because I want it to have some of this darkness coming in. And as you can tell right now, it looks very splotchy. The ink is spreading a little bit, but not enough. So I'm adding some more of the red in there, and I'm placing it right over top of the black. So I'm trying to get that red and black kind of melty together kind of look. And at first I was going to bring in my alcohol blending ink so I could blend it a little bit more, but the cap was tight and I couldn't get it off, and I just couldn't be bothered. Now I did grab a new ink foam because I was bringing in a new color. So I brought in terracotta, which is kind of a brownie red, and this kind of worked more like a resist, and in the resist you have that brownie color. So I was feeling pretty good. I knew my background paper was khaki and black, so I knew that I needed to have the kind of terracotta color and black and red on this as well. And I love doing this with alcohol inks. This is probably one of my favorite things to do, is to just put the ink onto the felt pad and just dab and create something fun. Like I just love it. I think it's gorgeous. Like that I would frame and put up somewhere just because I think it's that gorgeous. Now, I thought I really like the edges of this, so maybe I'm not going to cut it. But then I was like, this white paper, I need this big expanse of white off. So I decided to fussy cut out my alcohol inks. Now, you might be thinking about this, like, what did you do this for? You might look at this and be like, no, you shouldn't have left any white, or you should have just cut it straight across. But with this, I like the way it turned out. I like the way it looked. I think there is enough of a pop of white to make it work with the page. So I'm just trimming up just a little teeny bit of things where I had like really crooked cuts, or my white wasn't really straight and it just needed a little bit of help. So there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and place that across the entire length of my page. Now my Yupo paper is just ever so slightly smaller than my 12 by 12 black cardstock, but that's okay. I just made sure to have just the ever so slight amount of black cardstock showing on either side of the Yupo paper. And then I got to figure out where my photo is going to go. At first I was thinking it was going to go on this side of the page because I just thought it looked good that way, but I decided to do something else instead. Now this is adhesive backed fabric, and I didn't realize it was adhesive backed until a little bit later when I was cutting it. So here I am, I'm using my ATG because I'm thinking ATG works on just about anything, and it doesn't really stick to the fabric. It doesn't have enough hold to it. And I tried to use it on my guillotine trimmer, but it did not cut, it only bent it. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do. I don't want to just cut it straight with my scissors because I know that it's not going to be straight. And, you know, eventually I should have just cut it with my scissors because of the direction I went with the fabric. But anyway, hindsight is 20/20, guys. So I just adhere this down and I pull out my Creative Memories trimmer and I kind of figure out where I want it to go, and I just do the trimmer back and forth, and it doesn't really cut through completely, but that's okay because now I have this line where I can use my scissors, and I will definitely have a straighter line than if I was just cutting with my scissors. But like I said, you'll see why in a second, why that didn't even matter. Like, I was so worried to have this straight. I was thinking, oh, I've got this like super organic alcohol ink thing. I want my photo to be really straight and really like perfect and squared off. And it's not. So here it is. I'm like, yep, just what I wanted. And there's just an ever so slight amount of black peeking through behind that fabric. And then this is where I get the bright idea to pull the adhesive backing off of the fabric, and then the fabric gets all wonky on me, and as you can see, I am truly struggling with it a little bit here. So I lay it down up at the top, and it's pretty straight. Like that one's pretty good. That one's pretty straight, but I definitely am not getting this fabric down in a straight rectangle. It's just not happening, guys. So I decided to go with it and just pull it a little bit. And then I was like, whoa, this is way more than I was experiencing it. And then pulling it that way stretched out the fabric even more. So now I'm just kind of like trying to make it work and just making sure I have a little bit of black outline around the entire thing of fabric. And since I knew that my ATG was not adhering to the fabric, I decided to pull out some liquid glue. Now, it is a very, very rare thing when I use liquid glue to adhere photos, but in this case, I really felt like it needed to happen. So I have that down, and that's making me super happy. And at first, I was just going to put this straight down on the page, but I decided that I wanted my photo to be lifted a little bit. So I grabbed some Unfun foam, and that is foam that does not have adhesive on either side. So I went ahead and just popped that on the back of my photo. And this is where I make the decision not to put it on this side, but to put it on the left-hand side of the page. And I like that. I like it. See, I try to put it back over on that right side one more time, guys, but nope, not doing it. And as you can see, I haven't taken care of the alcohol ink on my hands. I am just going with it. Now these are foam stickers from Jelly Bean Soup, and I knew that I didn't want them to be white. I knew that I was going to color them somehow. So I've decided on my title. It's going to be You and Me. So I'm just going to cut out that little bit of the title. When I have these sticker sheets and stuff, sometimes I cut the stickers out, sometimes I just pull the stickers off. It depends upon what I want to do with them that day, and since I'm going to be coloring this, I felt like it was best to just leave the stickers on. So I'm starting out with some Gina K Amalgam ink, and I'm just pressing that down into the foam. Now this will not dry super quickly, so it'll still be wet. And after I used the Gina K, I don't know why, other than when I went to put my ink pad back, I saw that I had stays on, so I threw some stays on top of it as well. And like I said, not exactly sure why I did it. I just saw it and thought, oh, maybe I should put some stays on here too. So I did that. Probably unnecessary, really didn't need 2 layers of black ink on there, but that's what happened, so that's what happened. Now, this was really handy to be able to have it still on the plastic because I didn't have to get my hands all in my ink pads, even though my hands get all inky and anything anyway. I'm a little bit of a slob with this kind of stuff, and there I just touched it again. So while I was going to grab my heat tool, I thought, you know what? I bet you I could make like thicker-esque type stickers out of this. So I decided to go ahead and grab my clear embossing powder, and I'm just going to put it over the top of this entire thing. And look at that. It just coats so beautifully. Now it's also coating on the plastic paper because there's no anti-static powder tool on there, and that's okay with me. It's totally fine. Now, going back, if I really want it the kind of like thicker-esque type of look, where it has, where it's like the paper, the glossy paper over top of the foam, I should have did a second and maybe even a third layer of the embossing on top of this. But my embossing is not completely smooth when it melted. It is definitely textured. And the reason why I left it that way was because I thought it looked good with the alcohol ink. So I'm using my heat tool for this, and I do have that Gagne heat tool, so it heats up really great. Now I'm just kind of holding it above, trying to get it to heat up a little bit while I am looking at my fingers and looking at the ink that I have all over it. So I'm holding it over top of it, and I'm not keeping it there too long. So as you can see, like the embossing powder is melting on the black, and it's also melting on the plastic paper. So I didn't want to like completely melt the foam into the plastic. I have tried embossing on surfaces that are not like paper or wood or stuff like that before and have completely melted it. Just to let you know, you can emboss directly onto UPO paper. I have done that, but you definitely do not want to keep your heat gun directly on the paper for a long time. So you need to do it in like quick little spurts so that it doesn't melt the paper, because even though it's not paper, UPO is not paper whatsoever. It's actually a substrate is what they call it. But you can emboss directly on the UPO if you choose to. So here I have this, and I'm just going to peel them off. I'm a little afraid that the sticky is not going to be sticky, that it's going to stick to the plastic, but it doesn't. I mean, they say sticky. And I am okay with the fact that I have black on the top and white on the bottom of these stickers, and you can kind of see the white. Totally okay with that because I have white bits. I'm going to have white bits throughout this layout. So like I said, totally okay with that. So now I'm just figuring out where I want the you and me to actually live on the layout, and I thought that the you would be perfect over top of my husband's shirt here, because it is a white space. His shirt is actually cream, but it does read pretty white in the photo. So I just have that down there, and I am super excited that this worked, that I've been able to emboss over top of these foam stickers. And at first I thought I was going to leave that heart down there, but I do not. Now there is embossing powder kind of all over the place, so I don't know if I take it off now or later. At one point I grabbed my Swiffer and just Swiffered the embossing powder, because it was the loose embossing powder, because it was kind of all over the place. I might have already done that. I honestly have no idea. Now these little flowers that I just dumped out of the package are from the Paper Studio, and they are canvas flowers, and I got them on clearance at Hobby Lobby a little while ago. I just really like them, and I had actually ideas of painting them, but I decided to leave them as this just this natural color for this layout. And trying to figure out where I want my florals to go, where I want to pull in the wood veneer florals, where I want the natural color flowers to go. I'm thinking I need to bring in another flower just to give it a little pop of color, because I've got all kinds of natural going on, and I have this big expanse of color, and I need to bring the color out elsewhere on the page, so it's just not like boom, this big expanse of color. Now of course when you see this layout, your eye kind of fights for the photo or the big expanse of color. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes you really want your layouts to be photo focused. Sometimes you really might want to show the technique off. And whichever one you want to do, that's fine. And when you look at this layout, it kind of competes, and I'm okay with that. Because I really want you to see the alcohol ink technique, and I really want you to see the photo. Now, I did decide to bring in some red Prima flowers. Now, I still have a huge stash, not as huge as I used to. It's probably by half, but I still have a pretty large stash of Prima flowers, and I'm making it my mission to really use them more often. So I grabbed those. Now, these flowers, since they are canvas and they're fabric-y, I figured I'd probably have the same kind of results as I did with the fabric paper. So now I'm just going to go ahead and use my liquid adhesive to hold those down. And the good thing about liquid adhesive is it does not dry immediately, so you can pick them up a little bit, which is what I do because I do layer some of the flowers together. And I don't really make you watch the entire time I was choosing where the flowers were going and moving them around and layering them up. I did spend a really long time just messing with the flowers and trying to figure out exactly where I wanted them to go. Probably longer than I should have. I am more of a if it works, stick it down and make it happen kind of girl most of the time. Sometimes I mess around, and this was definitely one of those days where I just couldn't make a decision and I was messing around with the flowers. Now, I really like the layered look of the canvas flowers over top of the Prima flowers, and that makes me super happy because back when these Prima flowers first came out and they were in the milk bottles and everything, we would layer those flowers like nobody's business. We would have like 4 or 5 flowers layered just so we can get all the colors and all the shades. So that was super fun. Now, I pulled out some Simple Stories word phrases, and this photo was actually taken at the funeral of my most favorite aunt. And I wanted to celebrate the photo of me and my husband because I love the man so freaking much. But I also wanted to just have that feeling that it wasn't like a perfect day. It wasn't a like we're so happy selfie kind of thing. It was just a documenting the day selfie kind of thing. So I chose the things you were sunshine on a cloudy day just to give it that little nod. Like I didn't want to make this about sorrow. I just wanted to give the sorrow a nod and just share that through it all, this man is my rock. He is the person that holds me up. He's the person that lets me fall when I need to, but never too far. He's just that good, guys. Like, he is that good. He just really is. So, let me stop talking about my husband and finish talking about what's going on in the layout. So, since I added those white word stickers, I felt like I needed to decorate a little bit more. And then I realized that I didn't have a wood veneer floral up there. So that had to change. We needed to fix that. So I went ahead and grabbed one. Grab one, Sandy. I'm looking at this and trying to figure it out now. There it is. And I'm like, yep, I need to put this somewhere. So I just drop a little bit of adhesive after I try to figure out where the perfect spot is for it. And the perfect spot is right there. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that it is just about done. So now I need to just do some journaling. Now, I totally grabbed my pen to do the journaling, and then I looked at this and I felt like it needed a kind of pen-drawn border around the edge. I'm not exactly sure why I felt like it needed it, but when I have the layout and I'm looking at it before it had the pen-drawn border and after it had the pen-drawn border, I'm totally glad I put it on there. I mean, it was too late now anyway, even if I didn't. So now I'm just going to lay down my journaling, and it says, this man right here brings the sunshine to my soul. Even in deep sorrow, he lifts me up with He lifts me up with his love of me. So I felt like since I had these, I didn't put the journaling down yet. I added a little sticker first, and it says, "You are my sunshine" down here. So I definitely have sunshine 3 times on the layout, and I'm totally putting it out there. And like I said, I'm okay with it. It doesn't need to be like super poetic or a big long explanation. It just needs that little nod, and it's gonna live in the album at that time, so it's not like I have to explain this was taken at the funeral. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. I don't want to leave it on a sad note. Really enjoyed doing this layout. Really love playing with the alcohol inks and the florals for our Crafty Maven YouTube app. So make sure that you click down below and check out every single Maven's layout. We had a lot of fun doing this hop, guys. So definitely do that. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and make sure that you like and subscribe to all the other Mavens videos and channels as well. You will get all kinds of fun inspiration, and I will see you guys super soon. Oh, and up at the top, in case you couldn't see, I was just writing the date. Thanks, guys. I will see you next time.